The year is 1921. The month, September. The place, St. Francis Hotel. Hollywood's biggest names are at an even bigger party. People are drunk, bands are playing, and Fatty Arbuckle is moments away from being charged with manslaughter. The details of this night are largely unknown. What is known is that one of the attendees of the party was a woman named Virginia Rapp, and at some point during the night's festivities, she would fall seriously ill. She was found in room 1219, Fatty Arbuckle's room, and 4 days later, she would die in a Hollywood hospital. Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle would be charged for her death. And despite the fact that Arbuckle would eventually be found innocent, it didn't matter. His career and life was over. But this is not the story of Fatty Arbuckle. It's the story of the people who disposed of him. It's the story of her, Hollywood, in all of her dark, twisted essence. Hollywood dropped Arbuckle from his contracts quietly and swiftly and moved forward away from controversy. But they learned one more thing from the case of Roscoe. Going forward, this could never happen again. Arbuckle may have been innocent, but he was drinking alcohol at that party, and he may have been engaging in illicit activity. At Hollywood's height, nobody cared about directors or costume designers or screenwriters. It was all about the actors. And with that much riding in the hands of some pretty reckless 20-somethings, Hollywood needed to tighten her grip.
Firmly grasp it!
There needed to be some sort of guidelines, a clause maybe, a morality clause. You want to be a star? Well, here are the rules. To start, Hollywood owns your image. If they want you to become a redhead, take a seat. If they want you to change your name, you better hope they pick a good one. Changing the names of Hollywood stars was almost an inevitability. Sometimes the studios didn't even choose your new name. They turned that opportunity over to the people. One young starlet named Lucille Fay LeSueur saw her new name as the subject of a $1,000 publicity stunt. MGM would offer this hefty sum to whomever could give Lucille her star persona. The winning name was Joan Crawford, a name that LeSueur hated for sounding too much like crawfish. When signing a studio contract, stars would often be greeted with the following highly welcoming message. The spokesperson agrees to conduct herself with due regard to public conventions and morals, and agrees that she will not do or commit any act or thing that will tend to degrade her in society or bring her into public hatred, contempt, scorn, or ridicule, or that will tend to shock, insult, or offend the community, or ridicule public morals or decency, or prejudice the contracting company in general. Contracting companies shall have the right to terminate this agreement if spokesperson breaches the foregoing. Not much room for interpretation there. Anything that could be seen as degrading was off limits. This meant divorce.
Ted, I'm leaving you.
Was this some kind of joke?
But it also meant your significant other would have to fit your image. One notorious Hollywood couple to face the full breadth of these terms was Kim Novak and Sammy Davis Jr. Supposedly, the couple got so far as to get engaged before producer Harry Cohn got involved. Cohn called Davis, threatening his life and promising to break his legs and put him in a hole if he didn't marry a black woman and drop Novak. And drop Novak he did. There were also lavender marriages for homosexual stars. In our Rock Hudson episode, we explained that Hollywood's mistreatment of their gay star may have caused Hudson's death. But he also fell victim to one of these lavender marriages, when studios forced him to wed star Phyllis Gates. But if you still want to be a star of Hollywood's golden age, I hope you're not a woman. Women had heaps of rules specifically placed on them, including the incredibly bizarre rule that forbade them from wearing pants. At the time, pants were seen as a show of masculinity, when women would look much better in flowy dresses. Katharine Hepburn loved wearing pants, though, and when studios ransacked her wardrobe and stole her comfortable bottoms, she would make her way around set in her underwear.
Is that why also you wear pants?
No, I just wear pants because they're comfortable.
Do you ever wear a skirt, by the way?
I have one.
You have one.
Wear it to your funeral.
You wear it to my funeral.
But most stars didn't have the swaying power that Hepburn did, and thousands of stars that you don't know the name of saw their comfortability exchanged for beauty. While abortions weren't technically legal, Hollywood was full of them. Remember that clause, she will not do or commit any act or thing that will tend to degrade her in society or bring her into public hatred, contempt, scorn, or ridicule. An unwanted pregnancy would certainly fall under scorn or ridicule, and so hundreds of starlets saw their right to choose made by the studios that created them. Women still had it even worse, though. Of course, they had to be thin, and studios had no problem contractually obligating stars to remain at a certain weight. Judy Garland, one of Hollywood's saddest cases, was called a fat little pig in pigtails when she was just 14 years old. Of course, Garland would struggle with her weight for her entire life, and her premature death is just the most famous premature death caused by the omnipresent studio system. It's not the only one. Kim Novak, remember her, Sammy Davis Jr.'s fiancée? She struggled with her weight too, and she would face a hospital stint after one unconventional weight loss tactic where Novak attempted to drink only soap and water instead of food. Today, one of the biggest decisions an actor makes is what projects they work on. In old Hollywood, though, the morality clause took away your right to choose. This often led to stars being stuck in projects with lousy scripts and cheap sets. And if you were starting to step out of line, like Fatty Arbuckle or Katharine Hepburn, the studios could tank your career by forcing you to star in only the bottom-of-the-barrel projects. Honestly, you were lucky if the studio decided to drop you outright, because their methods of punishment were often far worse than any alternative. Child stars faced the brunt of these punishments, in large part due to the fact that they were, kids. If the studio thought you were goofing off too much, they would lock you in a windowless room called the black box and force you to sit on a block of ice. One star who would speak out later in life about this was Shirley Temple, surprisingly claiming in her autobiography that, so far as I can tell, the black box did no lasting damage to my psyche. Temple explained the majority of her ice stints were on the set of Baby Burlesques, a film Temple played a prostitute in. She was 3 years old. If none of Hollywood's rules sound too severe for you, you might be able to make it, but at what cost? I think it's time I finish the story of Fatty Arbuckle. Like I said, Arbuckle was ultimately acquitted from the murder of Virginia Rapp, but the damage was done. Arbuckle's films were pulled from circulation, which in the days before home media meant that he would soon be completely forgotten by the general public. He struggled to land roles moving forward, turning instead to alcohol. His wife, Minta Durfee, divorced him a mere 18 months after he was found innocent. It would take Arbuckle 10 years to land a role he was happy with, finally signing a contract with Warner Brothers in 1933, 12 years after that fateful party night. The day of this contract signing, Arbuckle went out drinking with his friends, calling the day one of the happiest of his life. That same night, he suffered a massive heart attack and died in his sleep. He was only 46. Despite losing everything to Hollywood in her vicious hand, Arbuckle still considered his return to the screen to be his only goal. He achieved it, but he would never live to see his contract come to fruition. Arbuckle's life can be charted through the studios that parented him, and it becomes abundantly clear that, for all he gained through Hollywood, it was a toxic relationship Roscoe could never escape. That proved to be the case for hundreds of stars that saw Hollywood ultimately kill them, and the morality clause was nothing more than a prison where stars happily signed their lives away to. This is when the pictures got bigger. Until the next time, I'll see you at the movies.